What's up, YouTube fam? Clint Lund from London Mix here with Tyler Enticknap, guys.
I'm back, baby.
It's been a minute since you guys have seen him on one of the videos, and we're just doing a little bit of bike work, so we're a little bit dirty.
I did some track work. If you guys haven't came out to 95A, that's what I'm doing now. Doing track prep and track work out in Fernley, Nevada. So it's been, we actually ended up moving together somehow. Total separate career paths, but somehow found each other, so it was meant to be.
Well, what it was is we went up fishing, and we kind of just were like, dude, this area is badass because there's just so much good fishing up here, and so then, But, so it had a little bit of influence behind it. But guys, today we're going to be talking about the top 3 ugliest bikes.
Oh,
Just nasty. Guys, so obviously through the years, there's been some hits on bikes where they just nailed the design. Let's be honest, there's just some where it's just, God, what was the design team thinking? And we barely took any time to prep for this. This is just kind of like a fun thing. Tyler's here, and let's knock this out. And without further ado, Tyler, give them your number 3.
okay, so my number 3, and this is like, when I think of the ugliest bike, I think of like look, color, and 2, how did it like operate that year as far as like what team was
just
running it.
all together ugly.
Yeah, exactly. Just like all together ugly. And the first one that comes to mind is the 2001, 2002 KTM 250, the one that Grant Langston used to run. And what I remember about this bike is it was fucking horrendous. Like, I don't know who did this color scheme on their bike, but it had like gold rims, a black and orange seat, and like
a silver.
The
silver front fender.
And 2, I just remember like the seat being like this thick and it just having this plastic like silk
on the
over
side.
it. And I'm like, dude, like, they were not worried about the rider gripping whatsoever.
No.
And on top of that, that was when KTM was having huge problems with their front end braking. And I remember I don't know if it was Grant Langston, but I think it was his teammate where he had literally his front end completely break off in a Supercross.
Yeah, I'm going to have to look that one up for you guys and put it on the screen. But
check it out. It's on YouTube somewhere.
All right, so my number 3, I'm kind of with Tyler on that one. That wasn't one of my picks, but mine is that 94 KTM. So they had like a really bizarre orange that year. It was almost like a yellow orange. And the graphics were like pink, purple, silver. It was such a weird bike. It was on like the MXC 300. It had these very bulbous, very big plastics. Like the radiator shrouds were gigantic, and it swooped all the way back underneath the bike. As far as like, I can't go into it as deep as
was that?
Like 94, 95, I'm pretty sure.
Okay, the reason why I'm not connecting with that bike was because I was born in 92.
Yeah.
So I was 2 years old. I don't remember that bike.
Yeah, well.
That was over my head.
So when Tyler was crawling around on the ground, baby 8 pound, 6 ounce, tiny infant, baby Jesus Ty, who's So, but that's one that stuck out for me for this. So that's my number 3. So we'll give him your number 2.
Okay, number 2 is the 04-05 Husqvarna.
Oh,
yes, and
the Swedish made one.
Yeah, the Swedish made one. So this was before KTM bought Husky, or vice versa. I don't know how that actually happened in Austria, but it was when Husqvarna did their own bike.
Is it Husqvarna or Husqvarna? Because it's spelled Husqvarna.
It's probably Husqvarna. Husqvarna.
Yeah, no A, but we say I think everyone in the States says Husqvarna.
Yeah, something like that. I mean, just because it's
I remember what you mean, but I had a 90, no. I had an 05. I had an 05 Husqvarna 450, and it was yellow, blue. I kind of liked how it looked, and it had Olin's like suspension stock. And
I just didn't really like so there was always like 1 or 2 of them down in Southern California riding, and I always was always tripped out because the pipe was on the other side, and the fender was like straight with like the seat. Yeah. So it was just like super boner there. Yeah. Like it didn't have that perfect curve or like that inviting curve. And stuff. Yeah. And then the front plastics was super wide and super pointy. Yep. And like I felt like that phase of bike, literally it came for like 6 months, and then they realized it was like a total miss hit, and it was just done. MIA after that.
Yeah, done.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, that's a good one. We're picking on the overseas brands. Well, they're all overseas,
Yeah,
right?
I mean,
but
yeah.
but the Japanese bikes, I do have a Japanese bike for my number 2. That is going to be the 93, 94, 95 Suzuki RM250 and 125.
Oh my god, dude.
So I did have one
You're
of these.
crossing over on your roots, bro.
Yeah, I had one of these guys, and straight up, so for you of those, the astute of you out there who remember Starcross, Michelin Starcross, they had colored tires. They had
stock.
Yeah, they had not stock. They had like yellow. I think you could buy them
The
in
Travis
red.
Pastrana ones, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So on my 95 RM125, I had the yellow Starcross tires, and even though like I hated how that bike looked, and it was so underpowered too. It was just it was a dog. It was by far one of the worst bikes. I actually thought I blew it up one time, but all the motor mounts came loose, and the engine was vibrating like so bad inside the frame. I thought it was blowing up on me.
Absolutely.
And I left it out in these hills of Rockfront Ranch, and we went back in a truck and picked it up because I thought it was blowing up, and then I took it home and like literally started taking out the motor, and all the mounts were loose. I was like,
hey, that's when you're talking about back in the day, when you actually leave a bike out in the boonies, and then you come back the next day and it's still there.
Yeah,
and you don't have to worry about it.
I mean, we pushed into the brush, like they weren't gonna find it. It was a big yellow signboard though.
That's
the
what I'm
plastics
saying,
on the
though.
thing. I mean, I showed you guys a photo of it. It had a huge signboard of a radiator shroud. I didn't mind too much the side panel or the rear fender. The rear fender was alright. It was a little bulbous, but for the most part, like, it was an okay bike, but God, that was just that year that I can't believe Suzuki kept that going for 3 years. Or they were like, yeah, you know what? We like this. Let's just keep this rolling. So yeah, that's my pick anyway for those years. It's just bad.
Yeah, I know. There's been some color schemes and some bikes and some just plastic engineering where I'm just like,
yeah,
how do you even how does this come through the whole board of a corporation and then
everyone agrees on it?
And then they're like, yeah, that's the color and that's the curve and that's what we want to go for, our anniversary. And that kind of brings me to my number 1 ugliest bike on my list. And it's kind of a newer bike. I'm not going back to 94 or anything, but I believe it's 08 or 04 Yamaha.
Okay.
It's the yellow.
Oh god.
It's the yellow 250. It's an anniversary bike.
Yep.
And it was a horrendous bike in more than one way.
Yeah.
Okay. It came in this horrendous Yamaha yellow that they did like a throwback to older Yamaha.
It was an anniversary bike from like back in the 1960s.
Yeah, back in the 1960s, and this bike, they came out with this newer bike. And it probably sounded like that just went by.
We got people, everyone's riding today. Damn.
Yeah, no, everybody's out riding. We're in motocross mecca of BLM land.
Yeah.
So, but going back to the Yamaha, so it was this anniversary bike. It was a horrendous yellow.
Yep.
I hated the rear and front fender on it because it just like rounded.
So like
over.
I know. So like so guys, the 2000. I think he's talking about 2000, like the Yamaha 426. The
fenders were really long and they were rounded over the tires, and it just wasn't appealing whatsoever. And I believe they had a recall that year about the valves breaking off into their piston.
That kept going on for many years after that, but yeah.
But it started with that bike and they never fixed it.
Yeah, but I know, that's bad. Honestly, man, I haven't picked my number 1 yet. There's so many bikes that just
so many worse bikes and ugly bikes.
They stick out to me just in my memory. It's like, man, what were they thinking that year?
You gotta pick something in the thousands, 2000s.
I do? Okay.
Like 2000 up.
Oh, I got one. I got one. So this actually made the list of bikes you should not buy. The video that I did here on the channel,
it better
guys.
not be a Honda.
No, it's not. It's yellow.
Oh, is it?
It's yellow. The 05, 06, 07 RMZ 450.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And even I could even go 03, 04, 05 RMZ. So like you remember the years that Kawasaki and Yamaha basically made the same bike.
Yeah, I wrote
not Kawasaki Yamaha, but Kawasaki Suzuki.
Yeah. So like so when they had that merge, for a little bit,
03, 04,
I had a Suzuki 65.
Yeah, and it was the same.
It was the exact same thing as a Cowie. It just had yellow plastic.
But back then, I remember the Suzuki, when it came to aluminum frame, I think in 05 or 06 for the RMZ 450. So they had like this frame that was just really clunky big. The shrouds, like I think they're trying to think a little futuristic almost.
Yeah.
And it just came out too jagged. The rear fender had a trough. Like
the like.
Yes, it came down in the middle of the rear fender.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
And they just tried to make some like crazy angles on this thing that just, for me, it never spoke out to me like, oh, that's cutting edge, that's new, that's nice, that's fast. Nothing like that. I was just like, wow. It looked like they borrowed, like almost like TM does. TM borrows plastics from different years, and they're like, not anymore. The newer TMs are sick, but the older TMs, if you guys didn't know, like they would have like Yamaha side panels and Kawasaki radiator shrouds. Like they just borrowed a bunch of plastic, but that RMZ, that's got to be my number one, just because I was like, man, I never owned one too. That's how bad it is. I've owned like every bike there is, and I've never owned one of those.
That is actually very bad.
So I don't know. Let's end this with what your favorite all time best looking bike there is. Period. Like.
Best looking bike, period.
Yeah.
I gotta think, and this like kind of just goes back. I don't know if it's just me because just me as a young kid, just being so stoked. But the 2008 250 Honda CRF,
the twin pipe,
when it first came out.
First came out in 06.
When it first came out, but for some reason I remember it distinctly. In 08, it just was super clean, and the dual pipes were super skinny. It was a very slender bike. You know, it was kind of on the cutting edge of like, you know, that's why I thought everybody was kind of going to go dual pipes, and it made sense.
I think Honda thought so too.
Yeah, in my kid brain and stuff like that, I didn't know it was going to be, you know, the first gen of 3-generation dual pipe, you know, bikes or whatever. But I just remember that one in my brain specifically. Like, I was just like, oh my God, that thing's so clean. Like,
so beautiful.
It was just, everything was fluent on it, and it worked good, and it was bitching.
Yeah. Well, I feel bad for, like, I don't know whether to pick a newer bike or an old bike, because some of the new bikes guys are just, like, I'll throw this one out there. My favorite brand new bike that just
what is it?
Gas.
Really?
I feel like Gas nailed it on their plastic scheme, the colors. Like, yeah, it speaks to me. I don't
the red and white.
Yeah, it does something for me.
You know what's the same color as Honda?
Yeah, well, Honda doesn't have a KTM engine.
This is Honda hate right here.
It is. I have more Hondas than anything else.
This is the first time in Clint's life that he's owned Honda, and it's taken a lot. It's taken a lot out of me to get this guy to go Honda.
I have 5 Hondas in here right now.
Yeah,
I got 2 down there, 2 right there, and 1 behind you.
Hey, tells you something.
Yeah, well, I do like Hondas. So I don't know, but so for a brand new bike, what do you think then? And I'll keep thinking of my my best looking bike of all time, because there's so many good ones.
Okay, regardless of the price. Okay, because new bikes are outrageous. I mean, I'm not racing anymore, so I gotta buy this shit full price. And honestly, I really like the Yamaha 450.
Yeah,
I think it's the all around best package as far as like you're gonna get it out of the box.
Race ready bike.
But not even race ready, but like I don't even say race ready anymore, but it's a bike that you can buy off the showroom floor and literally you can take it to the track or trails, and it's gonna work good if you set the sag and adjust the levers.
Don't even
you know what I'm saying?
You don't have to put a pipe on it.
No,
Set the suspension on,
like
baby.
the spring rate was like all right for me. Like if I'm not pushing it, like the Honda. The only reason I don't say Honda is because out of the box, off of the showroom floor, the Honda is a little too soft for my weight, and I'm 230 now. I'm a little heavy. You know, I'm not race.
Me too.
I'm not race pace yet.
All right, so I given it some thought, and there's so many like beautiful bikes throughout the year. So for me, it's as a child, as a young Clint, as a young Lund MX, like I remember having several posters of this bike on my wall.
Ooh.
And yeah, it was
getting better.
It was that good. 92 KX250.
So those things, like the Chevy one.
No, that's even newer. The Chevy ones were newer. So 92 blue forks. They came stock with blue forks, like my 500 back there.
Oh, okay.
So that's a 91. And it might even came out in 91 with the blue forks. But the 92, so that's back when Jeff Ward, Jeff Matasevich,
Tyler Enticknap was born.
Mike LaRocco, like they had Kawasaki had an all-star crew on their team, just killers. And Jeff Matasevich was one of those guys that just like made that bike because he had style. He was rad, and he made that bike look really good. So yeah, 92 KX250 would be my pick for all time. Wow, and I've owned lots of those too. But yeah, so guys, that's I don't know what you guys are gonna have to drop it down in the comments. Let me know your favorite. I want both. I want to see your favorite all time and your most ugly. I want to know the most ugly bike.
We want brand, size of bike, and year.
Yeah. Because
so we can look this up.
Because I kind of want to know a general census on this too. Like, does everyone agree with what I said, or do they agree with what you said, or do they have their own?
They're probably going to really disagree with me.
They might, but no, like the Husqvarna's early KTM's, like.
If you don't know about these bikes, look these bikes up.
Yeah.
And watch and try to find some YouTube videos on them because, bro, it was a whole nother world. Before 20th century.
God, the bikes really changed 06.
Yeah, and too, like literally from
changed.
like, and I want to say, I mean, we'll leave Suzuki out of this conversation, but around like 15, because I was doing shootouts for Dirt Rider, around 15, all the bikes really stepped up their game, and dude, like all these bikes, Cowie, Honda, Gas, Husqvarna, KTM, Yamaha. All of them are they're so good now. They're so good.
It's pick a color these days.
Yeah, like back in 2012.
Yeah, but I kind of disagree with you
like,
on the Suzuki thing. Like, okay, Kickstarter, right? Elephant in the room and heavy. Okay. But like for the B class dude with not a lot of money, the C class dude without a lot of money, I think it's a great bike.
No, you know what it is? You know what I found out what Suzuki's great for, and this is not a kick on Suzuki, okay?
All right.
But if you're a vet rider and you still like the 450 power, but you don't want it to hit like a performance 450,
like YZ,
yeah, like a YZ, because that's the reason why I kind of one of my favorite bikes is the YZ, is just because it literally hits like a mod 450 right out of the box,
right?
And not a lot of people like that, not a lot of people can handle that. So the Suzuki is a very reliable, mild, linear, like power for the Suzuki 450, and it's good for some riders. I just didn't really like it for my style and what I wanted, and out of the box, as far as out of the box compared to out of the box bikes.
Makes sense to me, guys. I mean, so obviously we're gonna hear a lot from you guys in the comments. I can't wait to read them because honestly, I get full stoked on that stuff and seeing all your guys' responses because. It's such a cool world that we're in with dirt bikes, guys, when we can literally just pick on how ugly one was, and it was still an awesome bike, though. I mean, it's still a dirt bike. People jumped it, they raced it, they had fun, and we're just picking on the looks. But, I mean, other than that, guys, if you own any of the said mentioned bikes in our list of the ugly bikes, I mean,
honestly, when it comes down to is it doesn't matter. As long as you're riding two wheels,
and you're stoked.
E-bike, bicycle, motorcycle bike, moped, Vespa, I don't care what it is, okay? If you have two wheels, you're fine, okay? Just go out and enjoy the world because it's becoming smaller and smaller every single day.
Yeah, and gosh, I mean, and now bikes too. I feel like all the KTM brands, so the Gas, Husqvarna, KTM, like that whole, and I'm hearing rumors Triumph is also going to be on that list soon.
Well, and Beta's coming out with a new motocross model as well.
And but I feel like all those bikes look very familiar, like
so
very
similar,
familiar.
Because this is my number one concern right now.
Okay.
Me being a 29-year-old male, trying to start a life, getting married next year, I cannot go and spend $13,500 on a brand new 450.
No.
Like, so is Triumph and like Beta maybe with competition? Are we going to be able to see like a little competition where they're going to have to lower prices?
I hope so, because Beta right now they're not cheap.
No.
Betas are not cheap right now.
Betas are not cheap because our friend Carlin Garner is like head operations over that race manager, and I heard like a piston and like a top end kit's around like $800 for those things.
I'll stick to 2 strokes.
That is a 2-stroke. That's a Beta 2-stroke.
Oh my god, Beta! Come on, get with it.
I don't know. I might not be knowing what I'm talking about either, so don't quote me on it.
But anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching tonight. Quick little fun video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Can't wait to read your comments. Make sure you guys are subscribed. Make sure you're following all the action that's going on here at the channel. One day he'll get his channel going again.
Maybe.
I don't know. He's
maybe I'd turn it into a fishing channel or something.
Yeah, he's really busy running that Fernley track at 95A, and that takes up a lot of his time. But yeah, we like fishing too. So anyways, guys, Love every single one of you. We'll talk to you soon. And yeah, thanks for coming by, dude. That was sick.
Yeah, no problem. And too, you guys need to watch this video and comment so we can get Clint back on the YouTube game. I know he's been slacking. He
I have not
dropped
been
a
slacking.
video
He thinks I'm slacking
almost
because he
like
doesn't
once
watch
a month. Dude, I remember you used to drop videos like twice a week.
Okay, I'm doing one a week right now, guys.
Yeah, what's up with that? It's slacking.
Twice a week.
He gets a real job and he's like slacking YouTube game.
Well, you know, I got to do adult things too.
This is adult things.
Yeah. All right.
We love you guys.
Peace out. See you later.
Later.